go? What gives you the right to continue? What gives you the right to stay in office? You failed Canada. You've ruined our country. You're done. Walk away. You don't have an ounce of your father's integrity. At least he walked in the snow. You've ruined this country. Everyone around you is running from you. They're abandoning you. Chrystia Freeland, Sean Fraser, they've all left you. It's time for you to go. It's time for Canada to have an election. You're not the king.
That fellow just got his wish. After 10 long, arduous years, the winter is over. The Trudeau regime is officially crashing this week. Perhaps as early as today. We're going to get into Trudeau's pending resignation in a mere moment. But first, today is the big day here in the US of A. It's January 6th. And to the Democrats and legacy media's utter horror, Congress is going to be certifying President-elect Trump's victory. Today is a lot like Christmas Eve for the Golden Age for January 20th. It anticipates the magic that will be unleashed on the nation and in much of the world on Inauguration Day, as Trump has sworn to close the borders, begin mass deportations, and drill, baby drill, all on day one of his presidency, not to mention the pardoning of over 1,000 J6 protesters who've been persecuted by Biden's Justice Department. President Trump has confirmed that he will be holding a victory rally the day before on January 19th. The Make America Great Again victory rally will be held at the Capital One Arena in Washington, D.C. That is the arena where the Washington Wizards, the basketball team, plays, the Washington Capitals, ice hockey. They play. The venue can accommodate, as I understand, upwards of about 20,000 attendees. I'm sure it will be filled to capacity. I'm sure we'll also have overflow crowds, as Trump rallies always do. And the rats are already fleeing the sinking ship. You want to talk about self-deportations? Take a look at this. It's being reported that the top Justice Department national security prosecutor who was behind Jack Smith's classified documents case against Trump has resigned. Sources close to Jay Bratt, a career lawyer and Washington insider, have confirmed that Bratt is but the latest in a mass exodus of D.C. lawyers and FBI agents who are resigning ahead of the incoming administration, fearing the wrath of incoming Attorney General Pam Bondi and, of course, the next great FBI director, Kash Patel. According to one former, and that's, of course, key here, former justice official who attended a farewell party for Brad at the Justice Department, quote, "They're forcing him out. There isn't any doubt that, like FBI Director Chris Wray, he's leaving to get ahead of the axe." Now, as mentioned, this resignation comes on the heels of the departure of one of the key swamp rats, and that's the embattled FBI Director Chris Wray, who resigned in disgrace a few weeks back after Trump made it absolutely clear he would be fired on day one of his presidency. And again, this is all just par for the course of what's happening in D.C. as we speak. Jack Smith, of course, is resigning. He's gone. I mean, take a look at what National Security Attorney Mark Zaid is advising DOJ operatives to do in the coming weeks.
Counselor, thanks so much for being with us. And this is kind of a little bit of a separate subject, although tangentially related to what Kate was just talking about there. But you are advising clients who are worried about retribution from the incoming Trump administration, revenge. And I was reading an article where you said you are counseling some people to leave the country. Why?
Well, look, Donald Trump and those in his inner circle have been very clear over the period of time, and especially during the campaign, that they do intend to retaliate, and they do intend to retaliate swiftly. They've made those promises. He said that he intends to have his second administration one that fulfills promises. So it would be naive and foolish for us not to take any of this seriously. And we're preparing. Now, I've represented a lot of clients who have been specific targets of President Trump and those around him. We're not just talking about my federal employee workers in different agencies who are uncomfortable, like you've just heard in this last segment. We're talking about people who have been specifically called out by the former president of the United States. And we're not rushing to it. I'm not saying sell your home, move overseas, never come back, become an expat. I'm telling certain clients, a small number, that, you know what? Take a vacation for inauguration.
Yep, that's right. Why don't you take a vacation? Plan a getaway. You and the family, you and the missus. Why don't you just take a little vacation? I don't know, for, say, the next 4 years. I mean, you can't make this stuff up. DOJ operatives are literally being advised to flee the freaking country. They know the storm that's about to descend on D.C., and they are absolutely freaking out. DOJ investigators are now coming to the horrific conclusion that they are about to be the ones who are going to be investigated. The investigators are about to be investigated. The hunters are about to be hunted. And at the very least, it's starting with the lowest hanging fruit, which of course is Jack Smith and his entire team. Everyone at the DOJ, everyone who worked with Jack Smith in both of his cases against Trump are going to be fired on the spot. You could be guaranteed that. Now, the key takeaway in all of this is, frankly, we've never seen anything like this before. We've never seen so many mass resignations in the wake of an incoming administration. It's never happened before. And we certainly didn't see anything like this back in 2016. Gang, we've talked about this a lot. In 2016, they were laughing at Trump. They were laughing at Trump, including establishment Republicans, Paul Ryan, Mitch McConnell. They were laughing at him. They knew that this city, this swamp, this D.C. swamp would eat him alive. They knew he had no allies in D.C. Ted Cruz hated him. Ted Cruz refused to endorse him on national television at the Republican convention. He had no friends. He had no allies. He had no coalition. They laughed at him. Well, as of today, no one's laughing now. All of these mass resignations reveal that Trump 2.0 is the real thing. I mean, think about it. Think about it. What are these guys doing? These mass resignations. They're basically self-deportations. They're DC self-deportations. And why do people self-deport? Right? Put in the comments section, right? Make sure you like the video as well and subscribe. Why do people self-deport? Because they fear what will happen if they don't. People self-deport out of fear. Genuine, bona fide fear. Fear so powerful, they physically alter themselves. They physically alter their geographic location. People self-deport because they fear what will happen if they don't. That, gang, you have to get this. That is what is happening right now as we speak in the swamp of D.C. The swamp rats are self-deporting. The swamp, for the very first time in our lifetimes, write this down. The swamp, for the very first time in our lifetimes, is actually afraid. The swamp creatures are the ones who are in fear. It's the swamp that's running away and hiding. We have never, in over 8 decades, ever since the deep state started to form, under the guise of J. Edgar Hoover and the like, we have never, ever seen the swamp so obviously and explicitly intimidated, terrorized, or frightened as we are seeing them right now. It's so bad they are literally self-deporting. It's not just illegals who are self-deporting and giving us our country back. Now swamp rats are self-deporting and giving us our capital back. Deportations are giving us our country and our capital back. And Trump hasn't even been inaugurated yet. Like I said, J6 is like Christmas Eve for the golden age. And it gets better. Talk about self-deportation. It's not just happening in D.C., it's also happening in Ottawa. Wait until you see what's happening in the Great White North. Our brothers and sisters in Canada are about to get the most wonderful New Year's gift imaginable. Wait till you see this. But first, gang, it is the new year, and that means it's time to make good on your New Year's resolutions, which should be prioritizing your health. We can't save our country if we're sick in bed, right? The golden age is about to start, and what better way to kick it off than to take care of your own body? Now, if you're one of the 100 million Americans struggling with all the weight gain and loss of energy that comes with a fatty liver, we've got an amazing supplement for you. It's called Liver Health Formula. It's an all-natural supplement which contains 12 clinically proven botanicals that help recharge and protect your liver. It's manufactured right here in the USA, and it's approved by independent American doctors. And if you click on that link below right now, you could try Liver Health Formula, and you're going to get a free bottle of blood sugar formula when you order today. So don't let a fatty liver keep you sluggish and inactive. You guys know that I myself recently lost over 60 pounds. I could say it was one of the best decisions I ever made. And now, hey, it's your turn. Click on that link below or go to getliverhelp.com/Turley and claim your free bonus gift. That's getliverhelp.com/Turley. It is official. The laughing stock of the planet, Justin Trudeau, will be announcing his resignation as Canada's Prime Minister this week, perhaps as early as today. After 10 years, 10 long years, the era of Trudeau is finally coming to an end. It's been a long time coming. Canada's been going through a political paradigm shift, a realignment, very much like we're experiencing here in the States. The Conservative Party in Canada has long been seen as just another establishment party. It was very successful under the tenure of the leadership of Stephen Harper, but very much like George W. Bush, and they overlapped, of course. Harper ended up just being seen largely as just another establishment figure that's turned a blind eye to the values, interests, and concerns of the Canadian people. And Trudeau is very much like Canada's Obama. He took office in the last years of Obama's tenure. He was young, he was handsome, he was hip, he was liberal. Trudeau was helped because he comes from a well-established political family in Canada. And he led the Liberals to a massive win, I think it was back in 2015, by parroting a lot of what Obama was talking about, all these globalist, multicultural talking points. But again, like we've seen with Obama and the Democrats, it turns out that the woke platitudes that had some success at some point did not have much of a shelf life. And so Trudeau began to see his popularity absolutely collapse. The Liberals eventually lost their majority in Ottawa, and Trudeau's approval rating began to tank. Trudeau would frankly give anything to have Biden's approval rating, which is right now in the low 30s. And as a result, Trudeau's Liberal Party is poised to suffer perhaps their worst defeat in history in the next national election. By contrast, the Conservative Party of Canada has rebranded itself as a thoroughly populist party. Under the leadership of Pierre Poilievre, the Conservative Party has become the party of the Canadian working class, and it's following in the footsteps of Trump in what appears to be a major political realignment happening in the Great White North. Here's Poilievre in a recent interview with Jordan Peterson.
No, I am doing this, and I want to get this done for the country, and I want to leave behind the opportunity for every other Canadian, the chance I had as a kid. And I know it's personal for me. I don't come from a privileged or wealthy background. I was adopted by school teachers, grew up in a normal suburban neighborhood. We didn't always have money, but I was able to get here. And my wife's the same story. You know, she came here with nothing and she's had a great life. Her family's had a great life. I love that about this country. And the idea that I could restore that as my life's work for other people, to me, that is exhilarating. That excites me. If that could be the only thing I do with my career, that would be an incredibly rewarding outcome.
So this is amazing stuff. We really are seeing a new golden age rising, right? We got Trump in the States. We got the coming of Pierre Poilievre as prime minister in Canada. We got Emmanuel Macron's globalist government hanging by a thread in France. The German government has collapsed. Their left-wing government's collapsed. And their Patriot Party, the AfD, is surging like never before. We got Italy's firebrand prime minister, Giorgia Meloni. She was just hanging out with Trump at Mar-a-Lago. Geert Wilders is in charge of the Netherlands, closing its borders and deporting. The Sweden Democrats, which is their anti-immigration, so-called far-right party, they're actually governing Sweden. Viktor Orban of Hungary is more popular than ever. I mean, we could go on and on. A new golden age really does appear to be dawning. And it looks like this week it's about to shine on our wonderful neighbors in the Great White North.